Oh, we're back. That's right. One and all, it's Anatolian Hills time again. This time not the default map, but actually chosen by Numidan to make his potential last stand here. Anatan has risen from the dead after last week's performance. He's back. Beats Numidan in swift fashion. We head into Anatolian for a Chinese versus Order of the Dragon showdown, where both of them are going to be looking to herd those sheep. But Anatan was notably later on the move out here. He only just came out 2 minutes in. So Numidan already has a lofty lead, 19 sheep compared to just 6 right now. Yeah, a little bit surprised on the delay there. But I guess it's to be expected. The problem for Anatan, remember, the difference between the Order of the Dragon and the Chinese here, there's a difference in buildings, right? It's the mill. The mill timing can like skew you, which is why also Anatan just didn't go for the mining camp at all. Plus, he had to build the Imperial Official, which would have slowed down his move across to set up the dock and the junk. The trade ship, rather. Trade ship? Transport ship. So yeah, a little bit of a ripple effect means that Numidan does get a healthy lead here. Arkan is going to be on the way at home. It's going to be next to the gold and the tree line. And we should be getting an Imperial Academy soonish. But you're seeing what Anatan is doing here, right? He's simply trying to generate feudal age with taxation alone. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell would you do this to do an Imperial Academy? It actually makes a lot of sense. The reason why you do this is your food gathering at home, like, you're going to want the excess because of the delayed timing when you want to transport ship out. I think this is definitely fine because, like, once this sheep run out, your Imperial Official is going to want to transport across onto deer, sheep, etc. anyway. There is also a risk that against OOTD, had this been, say, a Rax Rush, he would have needed the immediate access to gold instead of the threat here and abroad, right? So the whole logic here is now, in the event that Numidan actually has troops over here, he can Barbican Rush to be safe. But after scanning the other side, Anno should be fairly content with just going for an Imperial Academy. Is there a consensus on what's the easiest or hardest civ to master? I'd say HRE is fairly noob-friendly now. English, very noob-friendly always. French is like noob-ish friendly. But if you're not a micro player, you're not going to like it. Because you have to be careful on how you use your knights, so you can lose them easily. In terms of hardest, Delhi is a good fit for that because you really have to learn the build orders. But once you do, I think they become quite linear. Or simpler anyway. And outside that, yeah, China's a fair shout. Zhuji can sometimes feel a bit more complicated. I feel like China is actually more forgiving than Zhuji now. And Biz, sort of. I think at lower levels, I don't really see the complexities of Biz being too overbearing, if that makes sense. Because of how easy it can be to, like, blob farms, right? I always think of, you know, when you're talking about, like, a newer players coming to the game, and you're talking about civs that are easy to play, well, you got to be thinking about what the average rank of those type of players is, right? It's going to be low. Because, you know, there's not many players that come into a game and immediately conk. So if you're playing at a lower level, actually, civs that are farming oriented are going to be better. Because at the lower ranks, people aren't as good at all-inning effectively, right? Defender's advantage is a big deal, and you get a lot more leeway on timings to do things like adding in farms. So that's where civs like English just make inherent sense for low-ranking players. It's also where civs like Byzantines make a lot of sense as well. Okay, so we have got pressure coming out. Numidan did go in for the archer ship beginning. Anatan is being a greedy mother ducker here. He could Barbican the coast, which would protect him against the boats. Oh, sorry, he Barbican here. Well, yeah, we didn't even talk about that. So we get distracted by the farm thing. So yeah, he did Barbican first. Now, that's surprising because Numidan hadn't actually done anything to warrant this yet. But he was gonna, yeah. So it looks like what happened is Anno scoured out of stables, which then got cancelled in favor of an outpost. And then I think we got the Barbican up as a result. Imperial Academy is going to be coming in now. It's not as bad this way, by the way. Typically, you can kind of anticipate that a player is going to be going for Barbican play or an outpost rush if there is an Imperial Official at the start of the game. The whole idea here, like we talked about, is you don't want to linearize yourself to being trapped. And what I mean by that is the reason why you need to have this mill and have the Imperial Official. Why would you want an Imperial Academy here? You wouldn't. There's like wood and there's a gold line and you're not going to touch food. Imperial Academy is best where you're going to produce units and where you're going to gather the most resources, which is on the mainland. But you can't just blind punt out here in case Numidan went for like a Dark Age rush. So just to reiterate, that's why Anatan done this order. It's not he's outdated, he's doing it wrong. This is 100% the correct call. if you don't just want to throw the game at like 7 minutes in. Okay, so Numu is taking that full-on water Order the Dragon approach. We've seen this from players like Wham, actually very effective on this map when leveraged correctly. Tricky part could be food source long term? No, he's good. He's got 8 versus 22. There's really no threat to him right now. The only downside is like Anatan could just leverage land instead. Like I think for Anna, if he had done something like built an outpost here, you know, Numidan can't get in, and then all of a sudden you just focus on getting some juke and heading in on the mainland, Numidan's in trouble. But for now, it is just going to be water and water. And the walls are going up as well. Is anyone getting the feeling we might have a long game here? Delhi is like age up and facepalm your keyboard until all texts are in queue. Yeah, but the order of texts matter. Once again, like I've said, you know, if you bother to learn the first 15 minutes of a Delhi build order, you can get a conk. I think so. I think Ghazi are good enough, and also at lower ranks, people do not know how to deal with war elephants at all. Well, let's focus on the civs we've got here. Order the Dragon coming in, we do have the Burgrave. I love this. Numidan has 0 military presence on land. This is going to give him that tick in that box. He can still go for relics afterwards with a drop in a monastery. He's obviously not going to get the extra gold, but it ensures that Anatan doesn't get to control the narrative on land. And the other thing is, remember, Numidan has got substantially more food. So this just allows him to pile it all into more pressure. This means Numidan, Anatan is going to try to move in here. Needs to get the additional boats, though. He has got the demo ships on the way. Difficult, though. Numidan will see you coming a mile off here, courtesy of the outpost. So tech up completes. Anno, a little bit behind here, but not too far behind when you consider how Chinese can catch up. So he's going to have to retreat here. Numu on land. Numu fully aware that Anatan does have Zhuge Nu intents. That's good for Numu. It means that he can just immediately open with men at arms here and feel quite safe. Numidan's wall's not complete on the mainland. Good eyes. I wonder if he knows on the other side. Demo connection isn't going to be quite what he was looking for there. So Numu able to survive that. We have got Spin plus the men at arms now coming through. Interesting that he's beginning spears here. Probably because he's assuming that Anatan is going to go for an age up. But like right now, you kind of have to react to what you're seeing. So men at arms should usually be seen as like the #1 priority. It's going to have them queued up now in the Burgrave. So follow-up is going to be good for that. And we do have the upgrade on the way. This is sometimes the annoying thing about playing Rush into Burgrave. Is unless you want to build Land Detector, you want to build a Rax. Because otherwise, you're just kind of missing out on resource savings that really matter. Right? Like, you don't get a discount on the cost of tech. You just get them researched slightly quicker in here. It's not worth it to sacrifice your cheaper production for that. And I'm not chickening out of the Conk series. I said already, we'll do the Conk series when we're averaging like 750 views. If I give you everything and don't have you like, don't have goals that you can help us achieve, does it really feel worth it? It's like the classic kind of like, having $1 million versus earning $1 million. Okay, I would really like to have $1 million, but like for realsies. Come on. Come on. Gotta work for it. Dance up and down that pole. Subscribe to the channel. I've said before, like when I referred to like things like 750 average, we're talking across a month. See, this is the thing with your generation. You're all spoiled. Look at all those people that just want $1 million. You don't want to have the tools to make $1 million so you can make millions and millions of dollars. How much money do I need to do it? Yeah, we just said $1 million. Alright, so Zhuge Nu now coming in, but Numidan has edge here, right? It's men at arms versus Zhuge. He's backing up, though, because he didn't have quantity yet. He needs to wait until he's got scale point. Anno is adding in a lot of troopers here. Slowing down his tech timing. Yeah, a little bit surprised he didn't maybe just try to take the obnoxious emplacement defense route, but I understand, right? Like, if he relies on just hand cannon slits to keep him alive, works well against feudal men at arms, not so well against castle. This is cool, though. Numadon, he's prepping scale armor. Big deal, remember. Against Mashuk, means your archers are better going to feel a tickle here. Like right now, he doesn't even have a sealed arrow, so if you get the scale armor alone, you end up having free ranged armor against 4 damage, which mitigates the maximum. You can retire with a mill? Okay, a lot of people say they can retire with... Oh my god! You never would have expected that. In any measurement of this game, Numadon, with limited pressure on him, with outpost vision, up the wazoo, ends up losing 10 gilded villagers to a demo ship. Well, I can tell you who's not going to be a millionaire in this one. That's Numadon. That is brutal. 53 economy now to 28. How about that to a shock to the system and a drag you back into the game? Numadon now is in hell here. Castle Age arrives to Anatan. Is a 54 to 28 eco state. And I don't like the look of things here for Numu. He needs a big win in a big way on the land. He's already gathering stone. He knows this has to be 2 TC recovery. Why place the mill next to the shore? So you can protect the villages with the boats. And then also the logic here is meant to be, oh no, a pressure comes in, garrison transport ship. Hence why I said between the outpost and the transport, you never would have thought you'd have to look here for that type of hit. Thank God we caught it. Anatan, what an insane hit. And more demos like, hey, these things work pretty good. Would be cool to have a KP to Conk free series counter on the screen. That might be a way of doing that, I'm not sure. I can tell you guys that our current average viewership is 470. The problem with that number is the Twitch front page day did heavily inflate it. We're more like 400, maybe 420. That'd be lower, actually. Gilded Archer's coming in now. Numadon took a heavy hit on the land for his economy, but he has at least padded himself with the relics. The other thing to keep in mind is, like, right now, if they do fight, Numadon is heavily favored here. Remember, most of Anatan's army is trash. I say as he now builds Springalds, which are also trash. Now, Springalds are fine here, actually. This is kind of a cool way of trying to win water. On top of that, with the range, you might be able to hit the villages on the shoreline if you ever got up here. I don't know, I kind of like this. Is there anything we can do to get it front page again? If you have $100,000, yeah. That's actually what those slots go for. No, so I can request front page, but you can't request front page frequently. And it's also much more reliable to grow like the audience through other means. Because not many people who come from front page are necessarily going to like stay with the stream a long time, right? Oh man. I guess there's the trade-off of like podcastifying with the car sometimes. I would have felt so bad if we missed that. That was insane. That was one of the dirtiest demo plays I think we've seen in the history of Midweek Muster. At such an early point as well. So, Numadon, he didn't go 2TC in the end. No, he reinvested it into emplacements instead. That's a bit worrisome, considering Song Dynasty is scaling. But you can see the intent from Numadon. If he went 2TC, he would be on the defensive. He wants to attack. Dive's going to be coming in from Numu. Very tanky army here. The one thing that is going to die quick just got taken out the spearman, but everything else should be able to last a very long time here. The Gilded Archer is also incredibly impactful with that attack speed. They just need to be able to reach the target, which is why Ansan is forced to start step away. We do have emplacements coming in. Springalds are on the way. Pretty smart, actually. Hand cannon slits, The Springal emplacements are higher base damage, so more impactful against the Gilded Archers. And we're reaching the coast. No, don't do it again. He's like, come a little closer. Just a little bit. Come on, come on. Yeah, not as impactful against a unit that has 290 HP. But still helps out a little bit. The boat should be able to stabilize here. Numadon with the dive through. did only find 3 worker kills. No, look at this. Anatan dodges the bullet. 14 villagers shuffling around the side. In the meantime, Springles are moving in. And the villagers... No, Numenor doesn't know. And that's sick. The penetration works on boats. That is actually disgusting, guys. Remember, you get plus 65 damage to a ship. He's killing multiple boats at once. Oh, that is incredible. Anno's been cooking, man. So Numenor in trouble on water. Land side, he hasn't found enough worker kills. Only an additional 2 since we last looked in. And the army mass has been heavily shrunk here. I can't believe this, man. Freaking Springles. Clock Tower Springles at that. And also Numenor just getting lost in the moment. He was so focused on this crap, he didn't notice that there was a repair crew for that. Villagers now being pulled here, so Numu will be able to scalp a few more. No textiles either, actually. So Anatan losing more than really should be necessary here. All of a sudden, that worker deficit is starting to shrink a little bit. So 14 worker kills in total compared to the 10. Remember, Anatan's all came from that one demo play. All the rest of this has been Numenon's recovery arc. And it looks like he has finally got the answer to the Springles. Not just that, might even be able to snipe a villager or 2. I can't believe it got that much value, man. That's insane. Okay, so things are actually quite balanced now after those exchanges, folks. Because remember, Numenor also has 4 relics. And the gap seems big at 17, but you have to remember the OOTD villages are a little bit better. Song is definitely building a lead over time for Anatan, but I would say compared to where Numenor was 3 minutes ago, this game is much tighter now. Have I seen Boathouse map from AOE2? No. There was a map that I think was used in Titans League that I thought would make for a good AoE format. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think it was... Let me have a look. So the map I looked at, I was like, that could be intriguing. Was... Okay, maybe it's not Titans League. It was... Was it the Warlords tournament, maybe? I'm trying to find it now. Yes, so it was Land Madness, which was basically like just these blocks of trees everywhere. Not quite like Black Forest, a lot wider. But the whole idea of like, you know, something I think that's missing is a good juking map. One that has all these like breaks in lines of sight, not via Stealth Forest, but via just like hard corner connects, right? Like kind of imagine these little blodgy forests that you could weave around. I think that would be really cool, especially in the current meta, because walling is quite weak now. So, Anno, we do have the farms coming in. Granaries have been set up on the homeland. Usually this is what you want to do. Safest place to be. All in all, Anatan is looking pretty cozy. Meanwhile, Numu, the farm count is okay. It's nothing crazy at this stage. Yeah, he's sitting on 14 currently. And we do have a second TC now in from Anatan. I don't think he was expecting Numenor to attack him like this. We do have Trebs on the way. It's kind of crazy. Anatan has both like the Pro Scouts play as well as going into the farms. Shows you that he's maybe struggling to get deep enough because there's still the deer on the enemy side, which just don't really feel attainable here. I don't know if... Anatan, he has got extra stone gathering going, but I don't really know if you want to try to commit to this repair. He's going to be pulling one villager now. And we do have him scaling into Zhug again. It's a lot of spears from Numenor, but it almost feels like a bait and switch. So, I know he's trying to be efficient about this. He's still got a farm transition going. It's expensive at home. He's gone 2 TC, expensive again. So you can't just really... He can't just really look for the next step. He has to address what's in front of him in an efficient manner. And that is Zhug versus the spears. The crossbow idea, cool in theory, bad in practice here. Because although there is some men-at-arms, there's also the Gilded Archer crossbowman from OOTD, which will destroy you on the back line here. Like, realistically, what Anatan actually would need here, more of these. Nest of bees. There is saving grace. Because Numenor doesn't have a fast-moving army. So Double Treb is going to force a little bit more repair crew here. Military Academy is on the way, so we're going to start seeing them zerg out more. Remember, the military academy does, in fact, impact the Burgrave. So you just, with the fact that this is a building that saves you resources producing units, the way you have to think about the military academy Burgrave interaction is it's almost like an eco upgrade. And you just saw it there, right? Men-at-Arms alone, it basically took a quarter off their production time. So even more savings per minute. We have Sprinklers coming in from Numu as well. Pekka 3 is slowly failing here, by the way. But you're seeing what Anantan's trying to do. He knows if he uses more than 3, it's going to cost him additional stone to repair compared to what it should. So he's just trying to kind of finesse this. That nest of these are going to posture. Numu needs to be a little bit careful. The knobs count isn't out of control yet, which is why he's not that scared. If it's 4, he dies. But 2, against regular units, maybe. Against tanky Gilded Archers, it doesn't do enough. So the dive comes in. Idles out the repair crew. What a timing by Numidan here. He'll be able to take out the castle and take out the secondary TC. Dive goes deeper. Anatan, failing to be able to hold on to this area, is critical here. If he gets pushed back onto the starting island, that means no real gold access. So the range units are at least going to be scared away, but the castle is down. So Anatan ticks the first box here. Strong point defense is gone. That's the reason why Anatan isn't dead, by the way. It took out about 20 military pop of Numidans. But now he has access. Anno is gathering stone again, so you can see the intent. Try and get another castle up here. Let me make range units from Burgrave. I think a long time ago I talked about the idea of, like, imagine if there was a toggle button to choose what types of units the Burgrave could build. And maybe it was you could toggle it every 5 or 10 minutes. It's kind of a cool concept. The more we've been seeing ranged over the years, though, the more I understand why it never happened. Blobbing melee with Burgrave, like, seems more balanced and reasonable than blobbing ranged. So Trebs are now hitting the Barbican. This is much easier to repair with mass, remember. It doesn't cost stone. It's also much less impactful than the castle. Sacred Site's now locked in. Man, I love the way Numidan's played this. Guys, do you remember that? Do you remember when Numidan, like, lost 10 villagers to a demo ship? Do you guys remember that? That happened, right? I think that happened. Did that happen? No. You wouldn't think it actually was in the same game. With the way he's played this, you wouldn't believe it was part of the same series. That's crazy. I know, with the farms online, he can now go into the Horseman. We have got that switch up coming. Very smart choice here. Nimu is leaning more hard onto Siege, as often you do with OOTD. And also, this gives him sneak-ins with the Horseman to snipe out the Trebs, which buys vital time here. In a game where he has a scaling eco advantage. Remember, it's 2 TC versus 1. More than 2 TC, it's 2 TC song. Yeah, he lost 10 villagers to a demo in this game. We almost didn't catch it. Because we're busy talking about how we get billions. Not with my camera work, apparently. Horsemen are going to be able to dive in. One of the Nest of Ease gets taken out. The problem here for Anatan, he just doesn't have anything tanky enough to stand here. No, Numidan is just kind of mitigating the losses, right? Spreading his troops thinner to guarantee the Nest of Bees can't do enough. So good fight for Numu. We'll be able to scare Anno away here. We do have crossbows mainly in here with the Zhug, so as long as it's men-at-arms pushing, Anatan can fight that. The problem is when the horsemen get added in like this. Very much muddies the fight. He's going to dive to the backside for him, but these very tanky boys are able to deal with the double spearmen. Easy dispatch for them. The chase is still on. Men-at-arms are sticking to the Nest of Bees target. It will now get cleared up by the crossbows. Numidan hasn't solved the problem of economy just yet, but what he is still doing is keeping Anatan contained. Military lead has been maintained. Sacred Sites are now going to be decapped. So Anatan did sneak that one while Numu was all-inning. We do have additional sprinkles on the way, by the way. Not a bad idea here, actually. Look at the read. It's pretty sick by Numidan. With Anatan switching into Palace Guard, the sprinkles are going to do fantastically. He scouted like one of them, and I think that was enough to tip him off here. So the reason why Numidan is leaning very hard in the siege, and it's not easy to do, by the way, against Clock Tower. The reason why he's leaning hard in the siege is not just the standard defense of the Chinese, it's also the efficiency of the fight. Numidan has a trash type unit he's throwing away in the engagements each time, either horsemen or men-at-arms, whichever is the counterplay to the enemy. But the things that are surviving is the backline, the crossbows, the gilded archers, the siege. And he has to play this way for two reasons. One, he has way too much gold due to the relics. But two, because of the economy lead of Anatan, you can't directly just mosh pit alone. This isn't like an English 60 farms 2TC game where you queue up 100 men-at-arms and laugh. It has to be a lot more methodical. I know, we even have another granary over here. Yeah, instead of just like deleting the blacksmith in the house. Wait, look, dude, this is literally like the almost perfect location for the third granary. Come on. You're breaking my heart. Okay, that hurts. Almost as much as these trebs. Anno has still got some stone to work with, by the way. He's not going to immediately dry up here. 45 over here, some 50 over here. So you can keep repairing lights for a while. But look at what Numidan is doing. Over time, it feels inevitable that he's going to find his way into Imperial Age here. Meantime, it's going to be a dive in. Springholes in choke points. The dream come true. Yeah, Anatan's own base may have become his tomb here. Needs to be a little bit careful about the way he tries to approach this. Just to keep investing for the time being. But like I said, even though you're seeing the food go back into it now, just keep an eye on that gold. That gold is inherently going up, up, up. All right, it's all passive gold, no active. Eventually, you just reach a point where you look at the marketplace and you trade across for food. Well, speaking of food income, it's not exactly shy on that. It's up to 36 farms now. Another thing that's scary on this game is, like, you might think 132 versus 67 eco is a win. But where does he put that economy? That's the key detail to keep an eye on here. Clash coming in, Numidan does even add in a few Gilded Knights. And also, whoa, that's not ideal. Anatan, yeah, look at what the crossbows are doing. They're targeting the horsemen instead. So the Gilded Knights, the men-at-arms, they're doing all the damage they need to here. Numu absolutely obliterated Anatan in this fight. That's sick, man. The tankiness of the cavalry in both forms, in conjunction with the backline of Springholes and Gilded Archers, were just clearing the way. But I know the problem now is, you know, you look at this much siege, you think horsemen, but from your position, the pressure point's too fast. It's not just about the siege anymore. After a fight like that, you have to solve for way too many issues here. I know, it looks like he needs more production, to be honest with you. His gold is also lacking. He has just moved out into the fat 8k vein. If he ever gets scoured here, it could just be currents. I mean, once again, like, you know, when you look at where Anatan has got his economy as well. Yeah, that's 82 of his economy, or 84 of his economy rather, is on the starting island. There's only wood here and the food on the farms. Right, no gold. And that's key. The gold is what matters in this game. Crossbows, gonna need gold. Siege, gonna need gold. So for now, he can at least do the horseman play, but Numidan is gonna make that impossible. We've got knights. And he's spamming them. Yeah, we talked about what he was going to do with the gold and sell over. I think he sold a little bit over, but he took a very creative route. Instead of just saying, oh, you know, I'm going to trade 1,000 gold and the rate's going to get worse and worse as they do that, he decided to basically, you know, make bacon because he's got a pig in the barn. If you've got all this gold, you might as well spend it on a unit that is almost 50% gold cost. Hence the Gilded Knight mass. Yeah, not often you see people 30 minutes plus massing Gilded Knights. This is usually a open castle with and raid play and then stop. This map seems less than ideal for China having to do taxes. Exactly. That's why he built the Imperial Academy out here. To try and minimize that problem. But that means no Imperial Academy safely at home. Also, unideal from like location because of the tree line here. He isn't actually buffing as many production buildings as he would like to get more tax. Even more unideal is the fact that Anatan is not going to be able to keep holding on to this castle. Springholes are moving in. Good pen onto the backside. And he's scaling Zhug again. I don't know, man. I feel like most of these fights can be summarized as why do we have Zhug and Nu? There was like one time where it made sense when Numidan half his army with spears. But that's been quite rare since then. A lot of the time it's been Gilded Archers, Gilded Crossbowmen, which both outrange you, or Knights / Men-at-Arms, which are heavily armored. But you could argue some of it comes back to the fact Anatan doesn't have gold until you remember that, you know, a crossbowman is only 2 times the cost of gold per Zhug and Nu. Dive in. Looks like the repair crew is going to fail. Gilded Archer is able to tank it quite a bit. There's a backstab attempt. I don't know if you could just find the siege. Some of it has been splintered, but quite frankly, not enough here. The Spiral's going to even do more damage. They just move on to the villages. This castle goes down, and then it's curtains. It's going to go down anyway. He's out of stone. This is the only way you can gather from, and it's in the middle of the fight. So Keep is going to get dropped. Not in the positive way. And Anatan now switching over to the Archers. Okay, so Archers is once again a limitation of gold here, I think. I love that. Faye's like, without Zhug and Nu, he'd win this game. It's kind of funny. It's almost like he forgot he's playing China instead of Juji, right? Like, it does kind of have that feeling about it. Archers earlier on to deal with the Spearmen would have made a lot of sense. And then you just play off of it afterwards. Because then also Archers can kind of gap close onto Crossbowmen. They also have higher base damage, which means they should pen a little bit better into scale armor from the Gilded Archers. Like, overall for Anatan, I mean, play here really needs to be spears. And I'm kind of shocked that we don't have any Spearman production. I get why he's hesitant about it because of the Spearmans, but like Horsemen plus Spears feels like it would have hit a lot harder. And there we go. Spearman production now underway. Trebs are going to get cleared up, but they've already done the damage. Numidan can just dive in quite freely. Only reason Anatan isn't dead in this game right now is this. The gold did not get scouted. So far. Gold on the backside is going to get idled up though. And you may be noticing a slight issue with the economy lead. What was double before is starting to close a bit. What is crazier still is that you had an Order of the Dragon player that needed a recovery arc on villages. You'd expect him to go Imperial, right? On the flip side, you had a Chinese player, basically at full pop cap. You'd expect him to go Imperial, right? Instead, the aftermath, 35 minutes in the game, is that neither player has gone Imperial. This is crazy. How is he not dead? I'm still trying to rack my brain around this. Numidan played this so well on his transitions and aggro. It needs to be reiterated and praised time and time again in this game. Anatan, in a panic, just kind of had to keep flurrying out whatever troops he could get his hands on in the moment. Sometimes to the detriment of his economy. Now you can't help but feel that Numu is fully in the driving seat rather on this one. While remaining just 1 TC, and now I think he's ready to pull the trigger. Imperial Age on the horizon. Anno still reinvesting, but still has a smaller army. We have got Spearman, Horseman, Clump starting to build up a little bit, but look at what the reaction is. It's correct by Numidan. Spears, Men at Arms, Gilded Archers. This is the cost-efficient, three-legged combo to beat everything coming. Need to be a little bit careful about the crossbowman remassing, but outside that, it's a good opportunity for Numi to fight. Just have a few Zhug and Nu in here, but the Mangonels making that complicated. The Gilded Knight Horsemen are dragging a lot of attention here to protect the spears. Numu does realize a reinvestment is needed, and it is going to be a full blob of horsemen again. Yeah, so 1,600 food straight away into the ponies. Don't let them tell you that Order of the Dragon farms suck. 44 deep, and it's maintaining here. It's competing with the Chinese. Backlines left over in the aftermath, but that's good for Numidan. With Gilded Archers, it means that he can tank. Right, Zhug and Nu are going to do 7 damage, but you've got a healthy 5 ranged armor here. Numidan having 3k gold but no prelates? Yeah, I think, didn't he? I could have sworn he got inspired. No, he didn't. Okay, so I don't know if Numidan really plays Inspired Warriors. It's definitely disappointing not to see. The +1 armor is kind of sick here, especially when you consider that Anatan played Juginu this whole time. Up until, like, what, 3 minutes ago. Meaning you could have actually reduced their damage down to 1 on Gilded Archers, or on the Horsemen, reduced the damage down to 1. But can I put it another way? Isn't it crazy that he had 3,000 gold consistently, didn't play Inspired Warriors deck, was doubled up on villages, lost 10 villages when it made up a third of his economy, and yet he's winning this game? Now, we had a game the other day between Striker and Kiljardi in which Striker, and it'll be up on YouTube, promise you that, where Striker didn't use the Golden Horn Tower the entire game. Now, you could call that a suboptimal play, but you could also call that a flex. And I think he's ready for the full flex here. He's stockpiling again. He hasn't lost the Horseman yet. He's forced a lot of idle time off of the front farms. Gold can't really be touched. You can see the risks right now that Anatan's taking deeper into the enemy side. I think Numu might finally be ready for Imperial Age here. Yeah, if you lost those Horsemen on the dive, you have to actually go for a remass. But now, you can cozily cruise on in to the 4th Age. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at an Elsback. Keep Drop is going to come in on the Sacred Site closer to the shoreline, but you could Elsback over here. It would make a lot of sense. You could even think about just Elsbacking your opponent's face on the starting island. Because remember, he's at 82 economy. For OOTD, you don't really need to go past a Swabia at the scale point. I think you're quite content. The only reason you'd Swabia is if you're worried you're going to lose a lot of workers in the coming minutes because of dangerous gathering. Ordered the Dragon OP? I don't know about that. I think Numidan has just been so clean on his transitions. Like, he's always a step ahead of Anno. Yeah, I think the problem for Anatan is, and this is crazy, by the way, he kind of lost the Siege Wall, which you never say of Chinese with Clock Tower. And then once he lost the Siege Wall, once Numidan beat him to that point of the game, what then happened is it allowed him to hostage the counterplays. It kept him a step ahead, because then Anno, when he gets in the fight, has to also simultaneously worry about the Springles, right? Or the Mangoes. And there it is, confirmation, and it is going to be the Elsback slap bang in the center of the map. Doesn't care about his farmlands, which is a little bit surprising, actually, because Anatan is now marching in there. Villagers are going to have to deal with the ram, but what he actually needs is some military units here. 0 buildings to do so. And he never built outposts here because you haven't gone Imperial yet. Why would you? Big hit. Big opportunity for Anno here to re-extend that villager lead. Oh my. And Anatan decapped the second Sacred Site, hence why Numidan hadn't been recapturing that quickly. He had a timer, then got decapped, then he was too funnel vision. Funnel vision? Tunnel vision. And funnily enough, we do have a Normandy landing here. So Numi brought the boys across. Okay, so there is a little bit of a problem here, is that Numidan could now make this about the starting island for a clash. So Anatan has to double down. And what a way to double down! The Great Wall Gatehouse drop in his base. I don't know if this is quick enough, though. He needs to get villagers around the other side. You've got to be kidding me with this. And L's back in the center. And in reaction, another defensive landmark on the other part of the map. Yeah, I'll take the starting island. You take the homelands. I'll take the homelands. You take the mainlands. I can't believe he's even getting this up as well. That's crazy. You'd think Numidan would have dove past. He sees this, surely. The villagers standing there have to be a signal of what's happening here. But no, Great Wall Gatehouse will indeed go up for Anatan. And Numidan now in dire straits here. A lot of the farms about to become unoperational. Like what, about half of them inoperable? And remember, those are Arkham farms you're losing out on, so buff missing. Now bombards coming out from Anno. Anatan does still have a healthy military lead. He needs to do something with it fast now. entire balance is going to be coming in. Numu's like, well, I guess we're going to need a little bit more food here. Sacred Site's locked in. The Elsbach should make it quite difficult to decap. Keep drop, outpost as well. The problem is he hasn't secured the mainland yet, though. You can see how Anatine changed gears here, guys. I think this was meant to be the Great Wall Gatehouse. And interesting, Numidan is going to contest Han Cantonese. Quite dangerous against China because China has pyrotechnics and they can then get yuan, so they can kite you infinitely. But he does have a good supporting cast here. The Gilded Archers, the Horsemen, etc. So the gold has been found. Anatan has been sneaking around the back here for a very long time. It's been revealed. So Anno, wait, this is important, guys. Gold, 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 gold. If Numidan just sweeps across on the mainland, Anatan can't play mass hand cannoneers. He can only do budget stuff again, like food wood. It'll even take him a very long time to consider all the university techs without that gold vein. So this is a dire position right now for Anno. I think Numidan knows it as well. He knows how thirsty Chinese are for the golden late game. At least have a charge in the back from the Spearman, but nice dodge out before it becomes a problem. Second TC now in the center for Numu. That's going to give him the chained E repairs for both Sacred Sites. Farms. I can't believe this game. This game is insane. There are so many things in this one game that you could talk about that make it memorable. But for me, it's still always going to be that demo shit play. The fact that over half an hour on from that point, Numu isn't just flat out holding on to a game he'll never win. No, instead, Numidan is poised in a very comfortable position here. Elite Army Tactics on the way from Anno to try and make it less comfortable. Anno at this stage, there's a growing risk he's going to get boosted off the mainland. He also still has to kind of address this Elsbach front on. Remember, the cannon placements with a relic drop in there, giving the extra range. You can get sniped out attempting that. And because it has an extra 2,500 HP over standard keep, but then also takes 33% less damage, you're basically talking about a landmark that is twice as tanky as a standard castle. So, Anno has now secured the starting island. He could use this to rotate in, maybe try to snatch the relics, but it looks like they are on the move. So good read there. Numidan moving them across to the strongboy emplacements. So the castle is close to crumbling here. Anatan has no reserve stone to repair with. Dive-in attempt may prove to be ill-advised here. Cannon emplacement just complete. He's going to have to retreat away. Bombards are trying to do the business, but the Culverin's now coming in to counter this. And remember, he still has the emergency repairs. He's trying to bait him in range. Anno, his army lacks a level of quality about it right now. At least got the elite army tactics to make the Spearmen the best they can be, but repair crew now coming in. E-repairs plus the actor repairs, and now the relic drop for the additional armor. Additional damage to assist. Surely, Anatan has to be breaking through this thing, right? Right? I wouldn't be so sure. Wood repair cost, E-repairs between. This thing can take a hell of a beating. And not just that, the Horsemen, they rotate around the back, they find the hand cannons, but instead they go for the juicy target. The Bombards left unguarded. Can he get through it, though? Not a clock tower Bombard, he will get a snipe on. That's going to slow things down just enough here. A lot of villagers are being sacrificed for this, but Numidan is fixated on the target. Repair crew will be able to save the day. E-repairs just 25 seconds out. Numidan even using that one prelate to heal them for a little bit longer. And the siege is scaling up. We're up to 5 Culverins now. Anatan with barely anything to dive with here. He has meat grinded himself straight deep into the gutter here. At this point, he's pretty much hauled his own body into a wood chipper. That wood chipper refuses to give way just because of a few crushed bones. No, Numidan. He keeps the elves back up. He forces the Bombard away. He has an overwhelming military lead, despite the economy hit. And he is 5.5 minutes away from one of the best comebacks we would have seen in KPMM. Oh, see, now I'm feeling bad like I didn't do the start of this game justice because of our millionaire talk. Because this was something special. Raid again from Anatan. Numu is basically just countering him out with Siege now. And we even have this coming in. The slate and stone construction to guarantee there's no blitzkrieg with mass spears to get rid of this strong boy defense. Castle down here also remember is chained in with E-repairs, so this isn't even reliable. He goes in with the Baochuan. Needs to be careful of the range on this thing though. Village now repaired. Will require stone for this. Culveron's arm moving across. This isn't as easy of a decap as you'd think, despite the assistance of the Baochuan. E-repairs is coming off cooldown in 5 seconds. He will have that clutch repair to keep this alive. It's another dive and another death for Anatan in this game. And it's getting worse. Adjustable crossbars is now on the way. Look at Numidan's food income. He's down to 400 to 500 food income a minute. Inspired by the great works of CGQT, we are seeing it in full effect here. It's just about Siege. Castle. It's not gonna go down! Come on, there we go. Bombars get rid of it. Double Baochuan dies for that. But he does get through the keep. Now 4 minutes away from that victory for Numidan, though. And now with the Mangonel switch up, has a healthy answer to these Spearman dives. PG switch up makes sense from Anatan. These little flank raids are nice, but it's becoming problematic to actually find what little of Numidan's economy is left in this game. Consistently, at so many phases, we've seen Anatan with double the economy count. And yet, every time, Numidan says no. Wood is starting to become a bit of a problem. No, he's still got the big tree line over here, right? But safe wood is almost entirely gone now. There's a little bit left in the remains of Numidan's base, but kind of an irrelevant quantity. That's important considering he was doing spears before, but now it's back to food and gold, and I'm a bit worried there. Somehow, it's crazy, actually. Numidan has been so fixated on guarding the sacred sites. Anatan has been allowed to get anything he wants. He got the 8k gold. He got the 8k here. He got the 4k in the corner. He's got a 4k over here. Basically, Numidan has been standing here saying, attack me. This is, in some ways, reminiscent, the way it's played out eventually anyway, in the mid-game and late game, of the BC Numidan game of Frisian. The difference being, in this game, it makes sense to win. It's not just you waiting for your opponent to get sleepy. He has the clock ticking. But he's pretty much given Anatan every single opportunity to try and outplay him here. He hasn't really blocked the economy for the last several minutes in a significant way. Left or right? So I think at this stage, either one is hard. It has to be left side. Elsbach is way too hard to go through. But now your opponent has 9 mangoes. Like, what do you do against this? Anatan needs Yuan. Without Yuan Dynasty, you can't get in quick enough. I dread to think how many Palace Guard are going to die on the approach. And remember, because he's left it so close to the clock now, you can't delay this. You can't be retracted in your approach. You have to commit. Numidan is waiting now with what's going to be 12 Mangonels. This is insane. And he reveals it. Oh my god, Anatan. Well, he's won plenty of games doing this to other people, so he can't feel bad about it. Mango spam. Wallop's coming in. Has to body block the Gilded Archers, but those are very tanky backliners. Is it going to be good enough here? Needs more firepower. Village of the Shivs out. This is all in. 1 minute and 22 on the clock. The Mangoes, they're doing it. Only one of them goes down, but the entire Chinese army is destroyed. 50 siege population. A quarter of your effective population in a game of Age of Empires 4. And it's all mech. Proof that all of the Dragon players are robots. They're definitely not human, I can tell you that much. 31 villagers, 34 bio, military, and 36 siege remain. A minute and 22 on the clock. Anatan, he's now trickling troops in. If the Culverins just snipe down, though, they're not going to be able to stand here trickling like this. He finally realizes that Numenor now just using the 50 caliber sniper rifles to take out these units one by one. Clock continues to tick. Outposts have been taken out by the bombard of the other shoreline. The villagers are still here. The clutch repairs on point. It's still 8 mangonels, 5 culverins, and now a wall to protect. You've got to be kidding me with this game. Elsbach is definitely not going to be approachable here. Anatan, it looks like he has some pocket production, which is actually hurting him. Just wasting resources in this area. And this is all in now. Numenor, he's planted his flag. He's staked his claim. Anatan will get one more shot. And he better be damn well sure that he's Michael Jordaning this. Cannon from the other side is going to come in clutch to try and break through the walls. Mango shots are starting to line up, though. Culverin's also sniping the reinforcements. Love the gate. The gate is a critical detail here for Numenor. Protects the siege while allowing him to dive in and idle. Pause the timer. Dive through by the villagers. Not going to be great. There's 5 Springolds. They get the wipe. Textile villages on the sacred site, denying the decap. He's doing it. Numenor is gonna force a game number 3. He just doesn't have the troops anymore. Just a handful of spears holding here. The Springles to clear the way on the PG. And this game was anything but PG. Pure violence from the Dragons.